misinformation for Trump to continue to say he won the 2020 election.
So what? Are you saying that he can alter the past by saying
no?
What he
I'm
thinks?
giving you an example of what we're talking about. And so when
I'm sorry, but Bakari, your party just engaged in the biggest cover-up in modern American political history on Joe Biden. It's all coming out. We all now know that every Democrat knew it, and you and everybody else came on TV and lied about this man's condition. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Well, the Biden cover-up is the worst thing we've seen in this country in your or my lifetime.
First of all,
in political misinformation.
That's Republican and CNN black sheep Scott Jennings calling out Democrats and their puppets and establishment media for their hypocrisy in attacking Donald Trump while repeatedly lying to the American people about Joe Biden. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it seems like everyone in the country is adjusting to the new vibe shift taking place since the election, except pretend journalists and their unofficial puppet masters in Washington. Here's Scott Jennings breaking the news to the hacks on CNN that America is finally over their lying BS.
That is hyperbolic. And
it is not.
But it's not only hyperbolic, but it's actually incorrect. And yes, I mean, I wish I hadn't been around the president. I wish I would have known that he was not in the condition that he was.
Do you not have a television and eyes and ears?
First of all, I didn't see it until the debate.
But yes, on TV. He's on TV all the time.
But you also just want to sit here and say that that is the biggest whatever of misinformation we've seen, the biggest cover-up, the most hyperbolic and sensationalized incident that we've had in American political history in you and ours generation or lifetime. When you sat here on January 6th and did not believe that the person right there should be president of the United States or run again in his human lifetime.
It was a terrible day. It was a terrible
So
day.
we're going to sensationalize this because I can actually sit here honestly and say that whoever covered up his infirmity in the White House, whether or not he is going downhill fast or taking pills for whatever it is, early onset Alzheimer's dementia, whatever Joe Biden's going through, people who knew about it and covered it up, they should be able to have their day and have their consequences and accountability.
They just had it on election day.
All I'm asking you for is that same, because 140 officers were injured. People were killed that day on January 6th. So for you to sit here and say that is the biggest cover-up, I would simply say that people saw with their own eyes people storming the Capitol, and that as well is an issue that this president is going to usher in and wipe away.
Here's what I lived through. 4 years of Trump, then I lived through January 6th, then I lived through 4 years of Biden, and me and tens of millions of Americans processed all of it and went running back to Donald Trump because you cannot put the same people back in charge who just ran the country off into the ditch.
You know, I can't recall a time when the disconnect between elites and the rest of the people in this country has been this wide. And you could see it in the way they keep trying to get people worked up about crap like the impeachments or the convicted felon thing. But the truth of the matter here is elites have thumbed their noses one too many times at regular Americans who were worried about cost of living, rising crime, losing their business due to the lockdowns, and having their jobs outsourced to cheap labor. Democrats and the media downplayed all of that and in some cases even blamed the people concerned about it. Then they suddenly act baffled when regular Americans don't care about J6 or Trump defunding and gutting government agencies as much as they want them to.
Look, Donald Trump today, we've spent 99% of our time today, and Democrats spent 99% of their time during the election talking about January 6th. And I would just humbly and respectfully submit to you all that if this is the conversation you intend to have and the script you intend to read for the next 4 years, you are going to continue to get politically punished by the American people who are desperate to look into the future and not continue to wring hands about the only person. I'm sorry.
That's absolutely true, and it's coming from Jennings, who's repeatedly acknowledged that there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't have happened that day. But regardless of how you feel about it, the majority of Americans simply don't care because they can't afford to. We've collectively moved on because we have greater concerns, like trying to make ends meet and put bread on the table. I mean, there's an entire generation of young people that have essentially had their futures robbed from them by Democrats' incompetence and greed. The American dream is essentially dead for them. Yet I don't see the media getting 1/8 as worked up about that as they do this J6 stuff, which might just explain the disconnect between them and their viewers. But let me know what you think. Why hasn't this been a winning issue for Democrats? Is it because people agree with Trump or they simply don't care about liberal hysteria? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.